This is the legend of Abhartach, Ireland's first vampire. And unlike Dracula, this story might actually be true. In the 5th or 6th century, the region of Slagtaverty was ruled by a chieftain named Abhartach. But Abhartach was different. He was a dwarf, small in stature but enormous in cruelty, and he practiced the dark arts. His people lived in terror. Abhartach didn't just rule, he tormented. He used his knowledge of dark magic to control and punish anyone who defied him. The peasants whispered that he wasn't entirely human, that something dark lived inside him. Finally, they'd had enough. The people secretly approached a neighboring chieftain named Cathan. They begged him to free them from Abhartach's tyranny. Cathan agreed. He challenged Abhartach and killed him in combat. The people rejoiced. They buried the tyrant standing upright, a practice sometimes used in Ireland to contain evil spirits, and believed their nightmare was over. It had only just begun. The very next night, a farmer was awakened by pounding on his door. When he opened it, he screamed. There stood Abhartach, covered in grave dirt, his skin gray and cold, very much dead, but also very much walking. Abhartach shuffled through the village to his old fortress, and there, he made a demand that would haunt the region for generations. He required a bowl of blood from the veins of his subjects to sustain himself. This wasn't metaphorical. Abhartach went door to door, and the terrified villagers facing this walking corpse obeyed. They opened their veins and filled his bowl. What else could they do? He had already died once. How do you fight something that won't stay dead? Word reached Cathan that Abhartach had returned. At first, he didn't believe it. But when he saw the creature with his own eyes, the gray skin, the grave smell, the ancient evil in those eyes, he knew this was no trick. Cathan killed Abhartach a second time. He made sure of it. He buried the body deeper, with more care. But the next night, Abhartach rose again. Same routine, same demands, the bowl of blood. The people were losing hope. How many times could you kill something before you accepted it couldn't be killed? Cathan was desperate. This was beyond normal warfare, beyond anything he'd encountered. So he did what anyone in ancient Ireland would do when facing the supernatural. He consulted a druid. The druid listened to Cathan and nodded slowly. He knew what Abhartach was.
He is Marv Peo,
the druid said.
One of the walking dead, a revenant. You cannot kill him with ordinary means.
The druid gave Cathan very specific instructions, a ritual that had to be followed exactly. First, Abhartach must be killed with a sword made of yew wood, not iron, not steel. Yew, a tree associated with death and the other world. Second, he must be buried upside down. To disorient his spirit, confuse his sense of direction, trap him trying to dig the wrong way. Third, a great stone must be placed over the grave to weigh him down. And finally, thorns, specifically hawthorn, must be planted around the site. Hawthorn was believed to trap evil spirits, creating a barrier they couldn't cross. Cathan followed every instruction to the letter. He forged a blade of yew. He hunted down Abhartach and struck him down a third time. He buried the creature upside down in a deep grave. He rolled a massive stone slab over the spot, so heavy it took multiple men to move. And he planted hawthorn thorns all around, creating a living prison. Then they waited. One night passed, then another, then a week, then a month. Abhartach did not rise. Centuries passed. The story became legend. Slagtaverty changed, modernized, but the locals never forgot the old tale. And they never touched that spot where the thorn tree grew. In the 1990s, developers decided to widen a road. The hawthorn tree growing on Abhartach's alleged gravesite was in the way. Workers brought a chainsaw. The chainsaw broke, they brought another one. It broke too. The workers, unnerved, refused to continue. The tree still stands today, and locals will tell you in hushed tones, that's Abhartach's grave, and you don't disturb it. Here's where it gets even more interesting. In the 1890s, a young Irish author named Bram Stoker was collecting folklore from the region around Derry. He heard the tale of Abhartach, the undead tyrant who drank blood and kept rising from his grave. Shortly after, Stoker wrote Dracula. Many scholars now believe Abhartach directly inspired the most famous vampire in literary history, The Walking Dead. The need for blood, the specific burial ritual required to keep evil down, it's all there. But unlike Dracula, aristocratic, seductive, romantic, Abhartach was none of those things. He was small, twisted, corpse gray. He reeked of death and earth. He didn't seduce his victims. He demanded their blood like collecting a tax. There was nothing glamorous about it. Just a dead thing that wouldn't stay dead, shambling door to door with a bowl, taking what it needed to sustain its cursed existence. That's somehow more terrifying than any cape-wearing count. The legend of Abhartach reminds us that vampire folklore predates Bram Stoker by centuries. And the Irish version was far more brutal. far more visceral than the romanticized versions we know today. Somewhere in County Derry, beneath a thorn tree nobody will touch, Abhartach is still buried. Upside down. Weighted by stone, surrounded by thorns. The locals say, as long as that tree stands, he'll stay down, but chainsaws keep breaking, and nobody's willing to find out what happens if that tree ever falls.